Hi, you're watching Your World Tonight with me, Sana Khan. Let's get you the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Victory for Jallikattu protesters in Tamil Nadu in India. The Law Ministry clears the draft of an ordinance to allow the bull taming sport. RSS takes up the issue of quota ahead of polls again. RSS leader Manmohan Vaidya calls for a debate on why reservation has failed to remove discrimination post-independence. And the Samajwadi Party Congress alliance at a breaking point in Uttar Pradesh. Congress likely to go it alone after the Samajwadi Party says it will not give more than 85 seats to the Congress. We start first with news coming in on the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, or the RSS. It raised the quota issue once again before elections. Speaking at the Jaipur Literature Festival, RSS leaders Dattatreya Hosable and Manmohan Vaidya on Friday called for a debate on reservation. Vaidya said under the constitution, minorities have all the rights, yet quota was brought without any debate or discussion. He said reservation was essential for the upliftment of those discriminated, but there has to be a debate over why it failed to uplift the masses even after 70 years of independence. All right, WION's editor-in-chief Rohit Gandhi now joins me live from Jaipur. He was in fact at attending that session at the Literature Festival there. Rohit, remember, this comes again. The RSS had earlier made, quota a talking point ahead of elections in Bihar back in 2015, and we see this issue being raised once again. Can you put it in context for our viewers?
At the summit really is essential for reservation to exist for the scheduled class and the schedule. Essential to bring about the development and to run all next after a little while, because they're, for example, let's say across the year, this reservation. And so the challenge will always be how it's handled. But it was essential of this.
All right. Rohit, there seems to be some issue with the audio connection there. We'll try and come back to you in a bit. We're also not being able to establish a clear video connection with you at this point in time, but we will at some point in time on the show come back to this leading story that we're tracking. All right, in fact, we'll try and reconnect in just a few moments. But remember, this comes at the Jaipur Literature Festival. Reservation there coming back to haunt the Sangh Parivar just days before one major state out of 5, that is Uttar Pradesh, heads to assembly elections. RSS spokesperson Manmohan Vaidya there raking up this issue while speaking at a session during the Jaipur Literature Festival. What Vaidya said was that one should look into the impact of reservation as a state policy to end socio-economic discrimination. Hark back to the statement made by, remember, what Mohan Bhagwat had said during the Bihar State Assembly polls in the year 2015. Now, his statements during the festival spread, in fact, social media. There's a lot of buzz about this. Vaidya apparently issued a clarification saying that what he meant was that reservation was needed so long as social discrimination existed in the society. In fact, he said, I quote, "Until there is discrimination in society, reservation should be there. We should end discrimination in society as soon as possible." All right, let me try and go back to our editor-in-chief there, Rohit Gandhi, joining us live from Jaipur. Rohit, you were saying, putting things into, context over here vis-a-vis RSS spokesperson's remarks on quota.
Absolutely, and they've now been really misquoted across media. If you see, they've been misquoted as saying that they're against reservation, but what they really said there was that this reservation was extremely essential to uplift people and bring them out. And it's the Constitution, and they quoted B. R. Ambedkar about it, saying that it was essential. But again, it has to be strategized properly, and that is something that is missing from the rest of the media who is trying to escort them. You know, the UP elections are upcoming, so it becomes a very, very critical issue. RSS has gone out back and said that we back reservation. We're saying reservation is good to uplift the discriminated. So certainly reiterating the stand that it is essential to uplift those downtrodden.
All right, Rohit, we'll leave it at that. We really have to wait and watch as to what sort of impact does this statement coming in from RSS have on the UP elections. Thanks so much for joining us there for the moment. Let's now go across to the other big news coming to us at this hour. The Law Ministry has cleared the ordinance on Jallikattu, the bull taming sport. The ordinance sent by the Tamil Nadu government has now been approved by the Law Ministry. And let's get in the latest details on this story as well. That's the latest coming to us. Centre has cleared the Jallikattu ordinance. Remember, a debate has been raging for weeks now regarding the bull taming sport, which is held in the state, across the state, especially during the harvest festival of Pongal. And now that's the latest that we're hearing. We saw hundreds and thousands of students taking to the Marina Beach in Chennai for the past few days and raising slogans, in fact, in support of the bull taming sport, saying that they should be allowed because it's part of their culture. While animal rights groups have been protesting the sport, saying that it is cruel to animals and hence it should be banned. The Supreme Court had earlier banned this in 2014 as well, and that's when this year, in fact, the protests took big, they were shaped out on a massive scale where students as well as leading actors from across the state, in fact, said that the sport should be allowed. All right, let me go across live to my colleague Nishtita Virendra, who's tracking all these developments very, very closely. Nishtita, what's the update as of now? Is the crowd, the protesters, buying into the government's ordinance offer? Nishtita, can you hear me?
That's right. It seems like it is good news for all the thousands of protesters who have gathered here for the last 4 days at Chennai's Marina Beach, as the central government has given its nod to the state government's ordinance on the Jallikattu. Yes, in fact, let me just repeat the answer. It seems to be victory for these protesters who have gathered for the last 4 days on the streets of Chennai.
Also, Nishtita, if you can speak to some of those protesters and get their reactions, what do they feel at this point in time?
Right, it seems to be a victory for all these thousands of protesters who have been gathering for the last 4 days on the streets, not just Chennai but across Tamil Nadu, demanding that Jallikattu be legalized in the backdrop of Supreme Court not agreeing to lift the ban on the sport, on the bull taming sport of Tamil Nadu. Let me quickly speak to one of the protesters here. Ajit, now the central government has given its nod to the ordinance that was submitted by the state government. There are a few changes made to how Jallikattu can be organized, a few tweaks that have been made. What do you feel about it? Do you feel that that's finally victory for you?
Yeah, it has been 4 long days for us. We have been protesting for so long, and finally we have come to some solution here. What I feel is it should have been happened too earlier, but it's too long. It's 4 days is too long, you know. And yes, we are pretty happy, but it should not be a temporary solution. We want the Jallikattu to be to lift the ban permanently, and we want it to happen every year. It should not be a temporary one, and that's all we want. And we won't call off our protest until the gates of Vadi Vasal open in Madurai. So it not because you just sign those legal things. All we want is the gates to be open and the bull should come across the Vadi Vasal. That's the point we will call up our protest.
So after 4 days now that the centre has given the nod, next it will be going to the president. You're not going to go off the streets. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what the people are here. Even if you sign it off, we want the gates to be open and the bulls to come out of it, and we want the Jallikattu to happen, and we want to know and we have to see it. Then only we will call up our protest.
Absolutely, there seems to be a lack of trust that the protesters here have towards the administration, whether it's the state government, whether it is the central government. They feel the action has come in too little, too late. Of course, the state government has tried to salvage its pride, has tried to salvage its image as well. I have another protester here who would want to share his opinion.
Nishtita, I'm going to come back to you, I'm afraid, in just a few moments. Let me go across live to actor Mohan V Raman. He's joining me live right now. Sir, thanks so much for joining us here on WION. Are you happy with the Tamil Nadu government's move to bring about this ordinance? Many protesters say that they will not stop protesting unless this ban is permanently revoked.
I'm able to understand why they are saying it, because after all, you bring an ordinance and somebody else can go back to court and try and get a stay of it. So that is why they are very clear that only when the Adivasal gate opens and they see that full running out, then they know that it has happened. I mean, it is being a little playing it safe, playing it carefully.
Okay, sir. So do you think that this will take a while to pass the legal muster? Because the Chief Minister has promised that Jallikattu will take place, but in a couple of days. Should the protesters then be still worried?
No, I don't really think so, but let me share some knowledge to all my brethren in India. Please note, I said in India, not Tamils, not this. Last evening, on one of the channels, the PETA representative, while talking to one of the leading actresses, Congress spokesperson, made a statement that the first case in 2006 was filed by somebody whose son was gored to death by a bull. I knew there was something fishy because I remember reading the judgment.
Okay.
The judgment, the case was not filed for that at all. In fact, the case was filed by the gentleman only to seek permission to conduct what is called a Rekla race. A Rekla race is a race of bullock carts.
Okay.
He had filed a case seeking permission from the police, who had refused, saying that allow me to conduct the Rekla race. This has been going on for 75 years in our temple every year during the fair.
Right, sir.
Allow me to complete. The justice, Suomoto, said not only Rekla, but even Jallikattu, these are all cruel practices, so they should be banned, and she banned it on her own accord. The judge, Suomoto, took no. This kind of misrepresentation of fact is what PETA is known for.
All right.
I am not talking only about PETA, but all these. All I'm telling people is present the facts.
Right, right.
Truth.
Got your point.
Now,
got your point, Mr. Raman. We got your point.
We are so sick of being given half-truths and untruths and mild truths that these boys, poor fellows, youngsters, they're all students. How many promises in their life they have had removed in front of their eyes. So naturally they want to say, they look, these politicians and these activists and all these
Mr. Raman, I take your point that you're trying to make here. Do stay with me. I'll come back to you in just a bit. Joining me right now is also senior Supreme Court lawyer Sanjay Hegde. Sir, thanks so much for speaking to us here on WION. Take us through some of the legalities of this proposed ordinance. Can the state do it? And if so, could you throw some more light on that?
The Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, animals, is listed in at item 17 in the concurrent list. That basically means that both the state and the center can legislate on that topic. The only point is that if the center has already legislated, then the state cannot make any law which is repugnant to what the center has said. Therefore, if the center says that bulls are included, then the state can't say bulls are excluded.
Okay.
So, however, there is one exception. That exception is if the state makes a law which is repugnant, but sends it to the center for its approval, the center, which is the president. And if the president assents to it, then the state law will prevail, notwithstanding the repugnancy.
All right.
Therefore, what is being suggested to the state of Tamil Nadu, and which is possibly going to happen, is that the state of Tamil Nadu will enact a law permitting Jallikattu. Then it will send it to the president for his assent. The president will grant assent because the central government will advise the president to grant assent.
All right, all right.
That will be the legal way in which all this will be carried out.
In fact, you answered my other question as well, which was, does the president need to give consent on this? There are a lot of other issues that need to be addressed at this point, but we're running out of the time. Thanks so much, Mr. Hegre, also Mr. Raman, as well as our correspondent Nishtita there, who's been getting us latest inputs from the ground. Well, we move on to politics in Uttar Pradesh. It's official now, the alliance between the Samajwadi Party and the Congress is in deep trouble. The Congress is now upset with SP's decision to contest seats which it had won in the 2012 assembly elections in the state. Party sources say a furious Rahul Gandhi has gone into a huddle with senior Congress leaders. He has, through the day, consulted Congress President Sonia Gandhi and his sister Priyanka Gandhi Vadra as well. The feeling within the Congress is that if this alliance is accepted on the current terms and conditions, then it will finish the Congress in Uttar Pradesh. The SP is willing to part with nothing more than 85 seats as far as the state is concerned. The total number is 403 in the UP Assembly. The Congress wants at least 120 seats. Let me go across to our chief domestic correspondent Kartikeya Sharma, who joins me live for the latest. Kartikeya, this present arrangement that we saw earlier on seems to be falling apart. First, the RLD withdrew, and now, SP and Congress alliance is on the brink.
You see, what has happened is, Sana, that Samajwadi Party is insisting that the Congress should be given 103 seats. And then out of the 103 seats, Congress should distribute those seats to Apna Dal, TMC, RLD, some little seats to JDU, and maybe to Lalu Prasad's party. Now, the Congress says that this is impossible, because if it does that, then the Congress will be reduced to 70 seats. Now, this is what has happened when Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister, and Congress could not recover post-Babri Masjid demolition. So, Rahul Gandhi is extremely furious. He says that, well, we want 100 seats, and if other parties have to be accommodated, they need to be accommodated from the quota of Samajwadi Party. My understanding is that this has become a now battle of, I would say, nerve, because by doing this, by giving seats to those who were number 2 in those seats which Congress won, vested in 2012, Sana,
right.
Akhilesh is saying that he will break the alliance. And Congress is in a lurch for one simple reason, Sana, because they stopped campaigning and did away with the original slogan, 27 Saal in UP Bihar, which is like go solo slogan. So the Congress is in a great catch-22 situation. That is why Raj Babbar and the senior leader of opposition, Ghulam Nabi Azad, are camping in Lucknow, because Rahul wanted a Mahagathbandhan against BJP. And he feels very, very betrayed, and he feels extremely furious that by doing this, Congress will be finished. Right. Sana, if Congress fights in 70 seats, tell me what Congress is all about in UP then.
All right, so Kartikeya, but is there any scope for reconciliation at this point? Because Rahul Gandhi there, we hear, is still consulting, Sonia Gandhi, also his sister, who apparently played a big part in brokering this deal in the first place, along with UP Chief Minister's wife.
You know, today I saw Rahul Gandhi walking all the way. His car stopped at the Claridges, and from there he walked to his residence. And I was standing there in front of Naresh Agrawal's house. And I have not seen Mr. Gandhi so agitated and talking so furiously and saying they want to finish us and they want to finish us. It's very rare to see a senior Congress leader, number 2, a person who will perhaps be heading the Congress party in some time now, to say these things. I heard him, I saw him, and I saw him walk away, and then Priyanka also joined them after some point of time. So it was a great huddle which took place at his residence, Sana. But my understanding is it has to be a respectable bargain. Congress has helped Samajwadi Party by loaning Kapil Sibal so that Akhilesh Yadav gets his cycle back. And Congress feels betrayed that despite that, they are not even willing to give them 30 more seats. So my point is, if they get something between 90 to 100, that's respectable. But to expect Congress to just be between the 70 It is to say that the Congress will cease to exist in UP the way it ceased to exist in Bihar in 1980. Which Congress cannot make because it will be fatal in long term, Sana.
Right. Also, Kartikeya, from your understanding, of the leader in Uttar Pradesh as of now, Akhilesh Yadav, there calling all the shots, do you think that he will budge from his position, perhaps?
My point is very, very simple. Generally people think that Muslim constituency in India is very, very monolithic. But it is a smart constituency which understands the way faith and secularism interact in this country, where law, what is guaranteed in the constitution, and how people feel interact. And my sense is that this time around, if there is a dilly-dallying between Congress and Samajwadi Party anymore, they will all go and vote for Bahujan Samajwadi Party, which is Bahenji Mayawati, and to the dismay of Rahul Gandhi and dismay of Akhilesh Yadav and to the dismay of Bharatiya Janata Party, she might end up becoming the chief minister with 240 seats.
Right.
Because it is not about a Muslim veto, Sana, because Muslim veto was actually, I would say, surpassed by a counter-polarization which Narendra Modi did in 2014. But in assembly election, if this voting takes place, Bahujan Samajwadi Party will be in power.
All right. In fact, Kartikeya, thanks so much for joining us and sharing the latest inputs on this developing story coming in from Uttar Pradesh. We're taking a very short break here right now. That's it for the moment on Your World Tonight. Stay tuned for more news and updates.